ice all night. Y'all get ready.
Sorry, I'll probably cough a bunch.
It's okay. All right.
Okay.
Go for it.
Here's my idea. Let's start a cult.
What kind of cult?
I think that we could.
Yeah,
So
probably.
here's how
People
this-
are stupid, man. They'll follow anybody.
Yeah. So here's what, like, Josh has been talking about. Like, he wants to start he doesn't want to start a cult. That's what I call it. But he's
Okay.
like, I'm going to buy just a plot of land, like 10 acres or something. And he's like, and then I'm going to build, like, 10 tiny houses on it and sell it to like-minded people. And we're just going to live in the woods and, you know, just
It's
like farm and do
starting
stuff.
a commune.
Cult.
Cult.
That's
Same
what
thing.
I call it. And he goes, no, there's not going to be
Like a leader.
a leader or anything. And I was like, well, listen, it got me thinking, we could start a cult, and all those dumb kids you talk to up at the smoke shop, we could definitely get them to be our cult members.
They're also going to be the only ones listening to this.
And there won't be any women.
I'm in.
Let's do it. You got the land already.
Yeah. We'll just start building little shacks
Little
out down
shacks
there.
out there.
That's one of their names. Who was that big dumb kid that was in there?
Big dumb kid.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. We can't say their name anyway. Your house is down there.
That's right.
Get in the hole.
How do we benefit from that, though?
I don't know. I just feel like they need some direction.
Hmm.
All of that was just kind of a joke because I was literally thinking, like, we should start a book club and read those kind of things and see if those kids will do it with us because they all seem like they need some help.
That's true. It wouldn't hurt.
Not really a cult.
Just a book club.
And you're not stupid.
And that's
You're
how it
really
starts.
That's
smart.
how all cults start.
Yeah, just a book club. That's what I told Josh because, like, his parents, like, they know me real well. He's like, they're going to literally ask me, so you and Jason are both starting cults? Yes. And then maybe we'll have them fight for our amusement.
That's right.
And
Pit
Josh
against
was like,
each other.
well, I'm not going to have any followers, so my people aren't going to listen to me. That's fine. Mine will attack yours.
That sounds like a blast. Like, it's got to be fun to be a cult leader.
No women, though. Remember that. Unless
I don't. That's fine.
yeah, just men.
Yeah. The power alone gives me the satisfaction.
He's not much for the sex cult. He wants the power.
I mean,
That's
are you
right.
sure it's not a sex cult? It's just like
Hey, no. Maybe.
men only, tons
Men
of
only.
power.
Oh, man. So Josh really wants to do that, though? Like, not...
He's not gonna like it as much as he thinks he is.
No.
Like, I know the idea sounds great. You
Yeah,
know?
it's been done before. They always all fall apart.
Yeah.
Do they?
I don't know.
Why would you say that then?
I just feel like the ones I've heard of have fallen apart. Maybe that's what
Which
it
ones have you heard of?
is. And they all turn into cults.
Which ones turned into cults?
There was a documentary
That one documentary
I
you
watched.
saw on Netflix
I did see
about
that.
those
and
people
then
up in Oregon.
I've heard of some other
Feels
stories
real
of people.
aggressive
Yeah,
tonight.
he's like, coming at me for some reason.
No, I'm just.
I've
I
heard
just
of all
wanna-
sorts of people talking about how they used to live in communes, right? Used to go, you know what I mean? Like the old hippies. They don't do it now. They're not still there. Maybe some of them are, but I don't think... I think there was a boom of commune startups in the 60s, and it started dying off probably in the late 80s.
I'm sure there's still a bunch.
There probably are, but what I'm saying is, I think there was a boom, there was a spike, there was
Sure,
a
yeah, it was
high
like a fad.
point. They're not happening like that anymore.
But does that mean that they're a bad idea?
No, I think you can do whatever the hell you want to do. I'm just saying, like, they don't...
I think that it's
like
a
what
great
Jason
idea.
said. It's not,
it just depends
it doesn't
on
work
who's
the
there.
way that you think it. You're not going to like it as much as you think you are. No one is really like-minded. I don't want to fucking live with you guys that, you know what I'm saying, like, constantly and have to rely on...
You literally live next door.
I do live next door to you, but we don't... You see what I'm saying? It's not like Jason had to do his part today and I had to do mine, and that's the only way we got to eat. You know what I mean?
But
like,
if everybody did their
if we
part,
had to, it would work. It would be fine. It's just...
If everybody did their part, people would be listening to this right now. Caleb.
yeah. Unfortunately, none of us have done our part in this situation. So.
Hey, I feel like I've done all right. Okay, well, you tell me why it'll work.
I have no idea. I just am arguing with you.
I don't like it.
Sorry.
Don't argue with me.
I mean, like, I think it could be.
Once you're a part of my cult, you want to be able to argue with me.
I think it could work with the right people, just like with anything. But yeah, sure, it could fail. I think it's a good idea. I think it's like where things like socialism can actually function without being extremely destructive.
Yeah.
In small, little, controlled environments like that. If people want to, I don't want to do that. But if people wanted to do that, I think it'd be fine and ain't hurt nobody.
Could work.
And if everyone there agrees with all of that, and they all want to do that, and everyone does what they say they're going to do, then what's the problem with that? That seems like that'd be a great system.
I'd be for the system if you weren't economically tied into each other, which I think what he's saying is they'll each have their own plot of land thing. But I mean, it'd be fun if we all had our own plot of land, and we all lived by each other and hung out at night or whatever.
Right.
But eventually, somebody's going to sell that, and then you're going to have an idiot living next to you.
Right.
Well, you have to hold like an interview for the people who move in. It's like a job. You know what I mean, like you can't just buy.
So it's like a gated community.
Is it 100%?
It's like a choose your neighborhood.
Like if us three and Daniel lived there, and then Daniel moved somewhere else, like we would have first rights to buy back his thing, which we would do, and then we would go to sell it. Do we all three have to completely agree on who? Is it like a just majority, or
it's already falling apart? We're already,
because I'm never going to agree to anybody. Obviously, I hate everyone. This guy will let anybody.
You just need to build a house in the middle of the woods. Yeah, just one house and live there. Yeah. That would be the best bet for you, then, probably.
That's right.
I mean, I kind of agree with you. I don't really like people either.
Well, like you guys, but I'm done. Like I don't want any more friends. Yeah. I'll never make another one. I'm done. Sure. I have it. Topped out.
It's not really necessary at this point in life.
We have enough.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I make friends okay.
Do you?
Yeah.
Who are you talking about? Who?
If you broke down on the side of the road, would you call him to ask for help?
Who's your newest friend?
My newest friend would be, his name is Chase. And...
what's he do?
He's an electrician.
Where did you meet him?
We met him up at the store. We've been hanging out for a while. And we're going to do some pig farming. That's not a joke. Sounds like one.
If your pigs step one hoof on my property.
Oh, we're building the pen on your property.
No. I'm just gonna start shooting stuff.
So yeah, I mean, I make friends okay. I probably not as good as most people, but I don't know. I think I'm just around people more than both of you guys are. That's why. If you were around people,
I would kill myself.
I don't like the people I'm around.
Thanks.
Yeah. Your situation's a little different, though. You're either, doing business with them or you work with them.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah. Not exactly the same up there. I mean, it's starts off with business, but people just hang out, so it's a little different.
How would you feel if people did business with you and then just decided to hang out for a little bit?
I would say, if you don't get out of here right now.
Yeah, I don't think it would make the situation better.
I like talking to people.
Like that. I feel like if I keep going, that we're not going to be able to put this one up.
What?
If I say what's going through my head right now, you're not going to want to put this one up. Not that we can. It shouldn't be called "Don't Listen to This." It should be called "Can't Listen to This."
Good luck finding it.
Yeah.
Well, then
we've shadow banned ourselves.
Don't go any further then.
Okay.
I want to put this up eventually.
Fine.
It's garbage as it is. It's going up somewhere.
So let's start. How many people could you get to start our book club cult? Because these kids need help. I can tell. I'm up there. They say stuff. They're not real sure about what they say, and then they look at you all nervous like I need some approval.
I don't know, man. I mean, I think I don't know. A few of them would probably want to. I just don't know how.
They wouldn't read it?
I don't know if they would read it. Then I don't know schedule-wise how it would be possible at all for all of us to get together and actually discuss it.
Why not?
Everybody's going to school or has jobs that are off on different days. I mean, the only day I could do it would be Sunday, and we're doing this. So.
No, we can do it while you're working.
Wait a second, guys.
Yeah. Well, if you have to go get, I'll just.
We all start wearing like the same clothes. We sit in a circle. Yes, people are walking in. We're all just like sitting on
Here's your robe.
I had like 8 people playing Yahtzee. I think it was Saturday or Friday night or something like that, and they pulled the couch around and like created this weird circle, and people were coming in just like, what is going on in here?
Y'all shooting dice over there and gambling.
Yeah.
So why can't we do that with just like a book club?
We might could.
You can get paid to do it.
How can I get? Well,
You'll
we
be
get
working.
paid to not do it too. Like, it's the same.
So you're just gonna let these kids keep living their lives, no direction, making poor decisions,
Who knows what they're going to end up being without you, Daniel?
looking for validation from some random smoke shop guy. Could be you, could have been anybody.
They might
can't
turn
save
into a
them.
serial killer.
Yep, probably will.
Listen,
Probably.
that's why I do my best to just be nice, talk to people, be their friend, and that's as much as I can do.
We can literally do something else. I'm suggesting it right now.
You're not serious about that, though.
Fine, I'll do it. We'll do it in your store. If you kick us out, we'll do it in front of your store. I'll buy a bunch of stupid chairs from Walmart, fold out ones. We'll just sit in a circle. Don't make me make you the first person kicked out of my cult.
Oh, man. I mean, that's a cool idea. I just don't see how you can implement it and make it actually work. There's too many... People have too many different directions their lives are in, what they're doing to actually...
Maybe that's
had
the
a
problem.
book club, guys.
I read
And
everything.
we didn't go very far with it.
I read everything. Do you know what the problem
I
was?
read everything.
Do you know what the problem was?
What was that?
We involved
Females.
women.
That was part of the problem.
Did any of them make it 2 chapters in?
I don't think so.
No. No, they didn't.
And that's so weird to me, too, because, like, typically book clubs are majority female.
What are the ages?
Well, I guess you're right on that.
That's right.
Quite a bit older than...
Something's...
My favorite thing is that Daniel, not you, but Daniel was in a book club with like a bunch of like 40 to 50-year-old women.
This when he was 18. And it wasn't anything to do with, like, being into older women. He was genuinely
Into
interested
books.
into the books that they were reading.
What books were they reading?
Who fucking knows, man? It doesn't matter. Daniel will read anything as long as he can go argue with some 40-year-old women about it.
Yeah.
He's a trip, dude.
We need like some sound drops on this where we could get him to say, one time when he's over here, Emmy, stop. And then we could just, anytime somebody's saying something. Yeah.
Oh my god, that was amazing. So great.
It's gold. I hope that dude moves back.
I don't think. When I realized, it was like 2 days later, when I realized, oh, he was on LSD. Like,
Yeah.
I was not.
I didn't think about it till you said it.
Yeah.
Because, like, I kind of just... He seemed more coherent.
Yeah,
And then
it
it was
kicked in
getting real worse like,
Yeah.
as the night went on. And
Yeah.
I didn't really think about it, but...
I don't
Well, he
think.
told me he didn't take that much LSD, that he just blacked out
Yeah.
drinking. And so that was
Well,
the
it can't help.
main problem with his ridiculous texts. And
But
everyone...
I don't know if it
upset
was
with
the
him.
main problem. I think a lot of that flair that was in those texts was the acid.
Probably.
Because it seemed different than
Yeah.
Listen.
I've had him text me blackout before.
Yeah.
You know, and it's normally just a lot of cussing and vulgar things, but it was sort of like that, but like
Yeah.
with some like outer world shit. Like he was
he did
bringing
seem
some
to be
shit.
like-
in.
Yeah.
He was
His
tuned in with
portals.
the universe and like, yeah,
In the abyss.
yeah.
Yeah. He was listening to ghost inside because he was texting me in that strand, and then he was texting me on my own.
Yeah.
Got mad because Caleb wouldn't respond. I would have loved to have been there. He said apparently he said some stuff that he said his wife will be able to hold over him forever.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Good for her though. Like, she needs a couple of things.
Right.
I would have loved to have been there.
Yeah, we need to go somewhere one day.
Just anywhere.
Just anywhere.
Walmart or something.
Yeah, just us though. You know what I mean? And get Daniel high on LSD and see what happens.
I don't think I want to be on LSD.
Ever?
Well,
maybe.
Or I feel like he's gonna scare me on it.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. Like he would be a little over the top, but I don't know. Maybe
he
not.
has more experience than I do, so I feel the exact same way too. Just because like I'm new to that kind of a thing. I've done it once and it was a really bad time.
Yeah.
Sort of. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
I have precisely 3 hits. There's 3 of us. Let's keep this thing rolling for 3 hours, boys.
Take
really
you have to do it for, you have to cut and come back. Takes a minute to kick in.
We could do that one day though. I still have 2 hits.
Dude, I don't know that would be a very good. I don't know what we would be saying or.
You know, I think
how
it would
I would
be.
feel.
It would be like we need to do like a short 30-minute one right when it kicks in, because I remember like the laughing and I was having a fucking blast.
Yeah.
For like it was maybe longer than 30 minutes, but then I got like real serious, and I wouldn't want to sit here or be around you guys at all.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I'm saying.
If I got that way again, at least.
Do you think you would get that way if we were all sitting here though?
I think so. I think eventually it doesn't matter who you're with and what's happening. You're just kind of gone for a little while.
I don't know why we wouldn't just record the whole thing, and it's not like it's not live streamed. It's not like we can't.
But I mean, like, I feel like I would just feel weird, like, about it, like, because I have no idea how I know I will. Honestly,
I know I'll feel. I'll be like, I gotta get it away from here.
Yeah,
like with this microphone.
Well, this thing is gonna like, I don't know. It would start getting
too close.
It's way too close to my face. This is weird. I need to get a hoodie and put it over my head and find a corner, just wrap up.
Were you guys both alone when you had these bad experiences?
No.
Mm-mm.
But we're like, I don't know.
Me and Maddie tripped, and we watched American Dad for like an hour and a half, maybe. Cracked up the whole time. Like, I was dying laughing at the theme song, the beginning. Like, I'd never noticed, and I still laugh at this sometimes now because I'd never noticed it before until I was on acid. But at the beginning of that show, like in the theme song, Stan jumps from out of bed, like across his room into his slippers. And like, I just never noticed that he just perfectly slides into his slippers, and like I did, and I was like, oh my god, I lost my shit. Like I died laughing. But then once that wore off,
it starts getting real.
We both just kind of like quit talking to each other and just kind of sat there.
Yeah.
We like maybe put some music on. I don't remember, but we didn't really want to watch anything anymore. And it just kind of like, I just started going through my head and thinking all kinds of shit. But it ended up helping me in the long run, I feel like, because I was doing heroin just about the whole time I was on acid, which isn't good in the sense of it. It's not like it causes a bad effect, but it kind of dulls down the acid, so you don't get the full experience. But I kind of realized, like, what the fuck am I doing? You know, and that was like one of the major turning points. And I think maybe like 2 or 3 days after that I did heroin, but then after that I haven't done any for almost 3 years now. So
that's
and
crazy.
I really think that trip was what helped me to, because I had tried to quit in the past, and I had quit in the past for months, and you know, then relapsed and all that, and this time it was like different. You know, it felt different. And so I don't know. I mean, that shit's crazy to me, and that's one of the reasons I like love the idea of psychedelics, because I think there's so much potential for all kinds of different help for people.
Yeah.
You know, but
Absolutely, man. Like, and it does. You don't even have to trip to get those effects. Like,
Yeah.
there's so many things you could do with it without taking a dose high enough to make you start tripping that can help. And I think they've done some studies on a few of those things, but they keep people from researching it. So there's very little information on what
weird that
some
they're
of those
like
things can do. But
they've been keeping people from researching it, and they still do in a lot of areas with a lot of drugs. But then you have like ketamine clinics in Memphis and all around the country.
There's ketamine clinics.
There's a ketamine clinic in Memphis. It's been there for like a year or more.
Oh.
And
Isn't it like PTSD they use for that stuff or something?
Depression, PTSD, different things like that. And apparently, like, when you go there and they do it, they like give you a fuck ton and you just trip balls.
Yeah.
And like Joe Rogan was saying, one of his friends went to one out there and, you know, was just like, tripped his balls off and it helped him.
Yeah.
You know, like,
right.
And that shit's wild. But like, they're also like starting to study mushrooms, and like they decriminalized them, and
they're talking about that's big for depression.
So it's
and
like
stuff too.
They're starting to like get into it, but it's like I'm sure they're still getting roadblocks on a lot of those things, you know. But
yeah,
Russell Brand thinks that society would be a better place if we centered everything around psychedelics and DMT, and he's never even done it. Never done any psychedelics really.
That's a cult. For your whole society to be centered around like
not centered around it in a sense, but like
that's a psychedelic cult.
What like where he gets it from is basically listening to Joe Rogan and other people and reading about it, and just how
shut up about it though.
Yes, but the type of person that Joe Rogan is, aside from all his flaws, just his ability to talk to people on both sides and not be a complete asshole all the time.
Mm-hmm.
If more people were like that, or like, I feel like the three of us are like that, we could have a conversation with someone we disagree with and not just be a complete moron.
Right.
And it may have not come from that, but I think that doing psychedelics like that open people's minds up to be more accepting of things, because it kind of makes you realize you don't really know what's going on. So I'm not going to sit here and argue with someone and be a dick to someone when I think I'm right, because I really don't know what the fuck is happening.
Yeah. And
that's kind of where he was coming from with like, it seems like there's something to this that we would benefit from if we were looking into this more. Why are we putting so much effort into all these other things and we're not talking about this? Was kind of what he was saying.
Right.
Which is, I'll give you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it could be beneficial. Could not. I don't know. Like, psychedelics are just, I think it's just, well, they say it's heaven or hell, so I mean, and that could be beneficial both times, but then people are stupid though, man, and so I just don't know that people have been doing hallucinogens with it being illegal for forever, and they don't change. Nothing happens. They just
but there's a difference in like.
Well, there's a difference, I think, in the way you approach it from the start.
Yes, because Russell Brand has done like probably acid and things like that. He was a drug addict for a long time. Mm-hmm. He did everything he could get his hands on, basically. And he said, I had done some things, but it was never in the right setting. It would be in a club, at a rave, going nuts, getting fucked up. I'm not in the right mindset. I'm not in the right place to do this kind of thing.
Right.
And he's like, he said he doesn't even want to do DMT. He's just really interested in it, just because he doesn't want to go back into doing drugs, So
right.
he just stays completely away from everything, which is great.
Yeah.
But it's like he sees that there's probably some benefit to this if you do it in the right way.
Yeah.
Like you can't just, because I mean, obviously, like so many kids that we used to hang out with or just associate with, we're fucking doing Molly and doing acid and mushrooms and this and that, and they're fucking
worse off today than they were then, and they were not in good places then.
You know?
So it's
it
didn't change their mind,
but there's something to it.
I think there's something to it, most definitely. But I think you can also use it and nothing ever fucking happen other than you have a wild trip,
which could be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. When are you gonna do it, man?
I don't know. When are you gonna do it?
I've done it.
We need to do DMT because none of us have really done that.
Yeah. I want to fucking do that. So you guys have fun.
You don't want to travel to another dimension and
let's cut cards, and whoever loses has to.
What if I win? I don't want to win. It'd be the worst game to win.
No.
You lose, you have to do it. If you win, you don't have to do it, right?
Yeah. So you want to do it?
Yes, I want to do DMT.
Okay.
You can just do it then, man.
That's true.
I guess, yeah, you're right. This is America.
You're free to do whatever you want.
Right.
Do you think that the burning bush in the Bible was actually...
I mean, they
ayahuasca?
say it's possible that it was the acacia tree or something, and that does have a lot of DMT in it, but you can't just take the acacia tree and fucking smoke it and get high off DMT. So there still had to be some sort of...
Yeah, but if you even cooked up a pot or a tea of it, right?
Yeah.
It could be lost in translation that it was a burning bush. It was a bush they burned
but
to make this
DMT,
thing that caused this to happen.
You can't drink it or eat it and make it work, so it has to be mixed with other things that keep the inhibitors in your own body to block those so the DMT can work. You're talking about
the theory is that they were making ayahuasca basically.
Why is that the theory?
It's literally it's only a theory that comes from people who have done it, and they just want to try to make that.
No, it's
a
more.
possibility.
It's more of a
just a possibility.
Well, that's kind of what a theory.
Well,
is.
yes, but it's like it's not. It's just a thought. Like it's a good thought. Like that would be cool.
It's
if that's
very
the case,
possible with how things get lost in translation very, very easily. Like we know this happens.
So I don't understand what you're saying though. So like it would have been. I mean, I get what they're saying, but like, what's the point in that? So Moses came across the burning bush.
And then he saw God, right? He talked to God.
And then God talked to him out of it and said he was going to use them to deliver the people from Israel.
Yes, and the theory is that it wasn't a literal burning bush. It was a bush that he burnt down, whatever, and basically had this trip and saw God. God told him all of that, and that was how the story, came. I don't know if I believe that. It's just interesting.
Yeah.
And it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I mean, I want to get that one book. It's by, I can't remember his name. I want to say it's John Allegro or some weird crap like that, but I think that's wrong. I think that's completely wrong.
Sounds right.
Thanks.
No, I'm just saying, I think it's that guy that I've heard talk about. Is that like the mushroom Jesus thing?
Yeah, like Christ and the Sacred Mushroom or something like that. And he was translating the Dead Sea Scrolls, and he said that basically Christianity was a mushroom cult.
Yeah,
and
fertility cult, mushrooms and fertilities,
right?
Cult or something. And
that's where it all started from, and that's crazy. I'd like to read about it. I'd like to see why he thinks that, or it's just it's interesting. There's no way to prove that that's what it is or what it isn't, but maybe there's a way, but it's not been done. So
I like stuff like that. It's interesting.
Yeah. It is weird though. I mean, I think people have been using them for thousands of years for spiritual things, right? And those Easter Island Maui things or whatever they call them, like those giant statues. If you look at the bridge of their eyebrows and their nose, it's a perfect mushroom.
I'll give you.
And once you see it, you can't not ever see it with just a giant mushroom.
I'll give you.
And that's interesting. You seen that before? You ever? It's pretty weird.
Are you talking about like the head-looking things that are?
Yeah, they're all buried.
Like on that Rick and Morty with they look like those heads in space or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird.
I'll give you. I saw a cool video today that was like, 10 ancient discoveries that science still can't explain or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
What was annoying is a few of them he said it and then he explained it with science, and I was like, wait, what? The title is very misleading here.
Yeah.
Okay, but it was kind of like he explained parts of it, and it was, some of it is still kind of unexplained, but
yeah,
that was some just really interesting stuff, like nothing really crazy, but like, I can't even remember the name of these Viking swords that they found, like 140 of, that are so far advanced for the time they were made.
Mm-hmm.
Something with like the way that they do heat up metal now, that heat it at super, super hot temperatures, and it gets rid of all the, I can't remember what they called it, smut or something like that. That's
Okay.
just basically the impurities, right? But
Yeah.
back in that time, they used to just smack it out, like blacksmiths would just bang it out, and it didn't always get all of it out, and it wasn't the best method of doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all of these swords that they found were made this other way that was like 1,000 years later when people figured out how to do that.
Yeah.
And they, like, it's just like wild, like, and like, who did it? Who was the person who figured this out? How many of these do they make? Like, that shit's so interesting to me. Like, they were so ahead of their time, and most of the things were kind of just like that, like someone or some people who did some stuff that was like, how did they do this thing?
Yeah,
it's
like
crazy, the spheres that they found in Peru or somewhere like that. Have you seen those? They found like a bunch of them, but they're like giant stone spheres.
Oh, just perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, and there's like one
balls.
that's like, I don't know, 18 tons or something, and like, they just, no one knows what they're there for.
Yeah, why did they make them, and where did they come from? It makes no sense.
It must have taken a long, long time to make them.
Some crazy stuff, man.
My dad thinks there are people living under Antarctica that didn't die in the flood.
Yeah.
And so they're way more advanced. He said that there was.
I would like your dad a lot.
Yeah. He said that there was one time that there was, like, they saw, like, whatever those trails are behind the plains, what are, like, the contrails or whatever they are.
Yeah, chemtrails, but yeah.
Yeah, but what they like, that went all the way from pole to pole, and it was all different countries, like, it was witnessed in, and like, they were like, from the time it takes to that dissipates, it's like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So somebody got from pole to pole
in 30 minutes.
In 30 minutes, yeah. Which nobody can do that, obviously.
Right.
But if it was chemtrails stay in the sky for up to 24 hours.
Mm.
So.
But why would they have done that?
Nobody knows why they're spraying chemicals in the air.
But they do it all across the world.
Well, yeah.
I don't know if that's what that was.
But he was saying, I don't know. I'd have to look at, like, what he was talking about. But.
Like, if you could see the... Because, like, when you say it takes up to 24 hours, it does...
It starts to spread out.
It spreads within a matter of minutes. So you're talking about if you could actually see a trail, pole to pole, that had not spread out yet, then shit.
Yeah,
I mean, that would be insane. Like, that would make no sense at all.
Yeah, I mean, it probably... Like, I don't think a chemtrail, honestly, would look right, because it would start to spread out really wide, but, like, it stays thick, but it spreads out, because I don't know what the fuck that shit is, but it makes clouds, essentially.
Yeah.
And they just stay up there.
It's weird.
But yeah, that's wild.
That is wild. I mean,
Antarctica's mysterious.
It is, and there's weird things around it with, like, I think I've talked about this before with you guys. I don't know if on here or not, but it's called, like, the Reis map. It was written up in the 1500s by a cartographer, and he said that he used ancient source maps to do it, but it was, like, basically perfect Antarctica, piece of Africa, and piece of South America, which Antarctica was a little further up than it typically would be, but it had rivers. It was before the ice. It was a map before ice was on it, and they have, even though it's covered in ice now, they know what rivers ran there and where they came out into the ocean and all where the mountain tops are and different peaks, and all of that stuff for the most part lines up with this map with no ice on it. And that makes no fucking sense. Like, it makes no fucking sense for there to be a map that shows all the rivers and peaks and mountaintops and all that stuff.
How big is Greenland on it?
This is just showing that one spot, but I hate you.
You know I'm asking you that.
What's Owen said about that? Because
isn't that like a flat Earth thing?
I don't know.
Talking point.
Is it? I don't know.
I've heard flat earthers go, Greenland doesn't make sense. It can't be that big or something like that. I don't know.
He definitely had a ranting thing, but he didn't. It wasn't a flat Earth thing. It was like he goes, I'd just sit there in third grade and I'd look at the map and I'd be like, it's bigger than Africa. What's happening in Greenland? And they would just go, no, look at Africa. But this is bigger. And then you're telling me nothing's happening there? There's just ice? No, look at Africa.
Well, like the weird thing about maps too are there are different projections and different people, and we just use one projection of the maps of the world, and they're not really that accurate.
So the Earth must be flat.
No.
That's basically what they say.
I'm just saying, like, there are different projections, and on other ones that are not so commonly used, Greenland's not near as fucking big as it is on the one that we use now, or vice versa, or some crap like that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Been reading a lot about Norse mythology lately.
You can't do anything else.
Like, yeah.
Anything about some kind of ancient sword-making technique handed down from the gods?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, the dwarves are the ones that made the magical swords and rings and
Did you forget what
spheres.
he just told you about?
Yes, I'm just saying. Like, it was probably dwarf work.
Yeah. Probably.
Yeah. But here's two cool things that I didn't know. Like, okay, so Thursday, we call it Thursday because they gave the god Thor a day, Thor's Day. And it literally translates into English. They've, tweaked it, and the English word for it is Thursday.
What a crappy day for him to get. Wasn't he the best god?
Odin was the
Well,
god king.
it just depends.
That's the
I
weird
like
thing.
Loki.
Well, the weird thing about, like, that whole thing is that certain parts of different areas that believed in these gods worship different ones over other ones. Right?
Well, yeah. Well, that's
Just
it. Was
because-
like kind of like who you were,
Yeah.
you know.
And I mean, like, Odin
who you-
obviously was all father to everyone, but there were certain ones that they believed gave them, better harvests or better whatever, right? So they would make statues of them and worship them. But then they're like one of Thor's brothers or one of Odin's other sons or something like that. His name was like Teu or something like that, and so they gave him a day as well, which is Tuesday, which is just fucking weird. Like, how do you like? I never thought about why we call the days of the week what we call them, but at least 2 or 3 of them.
Figure out why we call the other ones what we do.
I think Friday was for like Frey or something. They gave her a day or something like that, and it was Frey Day, Friday.
It's wild.
Yeah, it's weird. It's all pagan.
Yeah. Kind of
Mostly.
like Christmas.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just not... Jesus wasn't born in the wintertime.
No.
There was not a tree. That's a pagan thing. We're going to bring in the tree to keep it alive.
So is Easter. I mean, Easter's a pagan thing. They even after Christianity came to the Saxons, like the Saxons were pagans before they were, Christians, and their gods lined up so much like the Nordic gods. It was almost the same shit, And they had this.
How?
That's the weird crap. That's the stuff that makes no sense.
Because by the time the Vikings went over there, they were already Christian.
They were already
right?
Christian. Yeah.
And they're like, you guys are pagan heathens.
Yep. So super
insane.
weird. Because it wasn't, but a few hundred years before that, they were all worshiping gods that were different names. A lot of them, but like they had the same powers or the same, tales about them of how they did this or that. And it just that's the weird part about all of it. Is like, where does that shit come from? How does it all have the same similarities, and why?
Yeah.
And maybe it's just somebody fucking made it all up, and storytelling, spreads itself over the world, and you get different names. But
were people really traveling at that point, like,
that's
to
the
other
other
worlds and sharing stories, or like, if they did travel, weren't they just dying immediately when they got there, or
I don't think so.
killing
I think
one? It was
based
like,
on
like
all
one or
the weird
other.
things all over the world that are very similar. I think we were seafaring and traveling and making maps and doing crazy shit way more advanced than anybody gives them credit for. But I mean, I don't know for sure, but I think it just seems like that's
Well,
the
it
case.
seems likely that there were some people who figured out that way before others, just like with the shit I was talking about with those. There's always someone who figures something out way before everyone else. But like, is that enough to spread these stories across the whole world? Just about
maybe not.
One or
and
two
that's where you
a
get your
handful
whole
of individuals.
You know,
but they're not even all going to be the same.
And like, I still haven't thrown all that crap out. It's weird as some of those people are that, you know, subscribe to that shit. Like, I don't know. It's a possibility. It's all just speculation.
If you believe in aliens, and then you believe they possibly still visit Earth, then why wouldn't you believe they haven't been, or that some haven't been for the beginning of Earth? I mean,
it would explain all the crazy gods and how they could do crazy things and get from this place to that place, and you know, it would explain that. It really would.
Apparently, there's still. I remember seeing this like a long time ago. It's like one of the first UFO things I ever saw on like sci-fi or something. But it was like the cow mutilations. You remember, like, I think me and you watched something about that.
It's still happening.
Still happening in Oregon.
Just saw
for like 10 years or more. It's been happening, and it happens in Colorado and other places.
Are you looking on Thursday?
Mm-hmm.
I believe you.
But like, that's wild. Like, that is crazy to me because they have so many pictures and video of these dead cows.
Yeah,
with their tongues and eyeballs missing, and
there's
like
no blood.
No, all the blood is gone. There's no blood around the site.
No,
and their sex organs are gone. Their tongue and their eyes are gone, and there's laser cuts around the spots where it's happened.
That's like not an alien. I don't know what the hell
laser
it is.
cuts. And there's a
Why would the government do that? It's either aliens or government. There's no.
Could be a cult. No. Cult with a laser.
Cult with a laser. What kind of laser you can carry out?
I'm thinking about getting a cult and a laser.
Let me give you this. There's a cop in Colorado who was a cop for I don't know how long, whatever. He's a sheriff or something like that. He got like called on some of these like whenever they were first happening or whatever. But so he started investigating them, and he's been investigating them for like 10 years now or something. And he has, which he could be full of shit. He could be the worst cop in the world and just not know what he's doing. But he said that what he's found is that the cows are moved. They're either picked up or moved from a location, taken somewhere else. They're being killed and the blood's being drained and all of that, and then they're being brought back and placed.
Yeah.
That is, it's possible for a group of people to accomplish that, but with the amount of them that have happened and where people just find their cows like in the middle of the day and like, you know, the times, like there's no way that across the world, because these accounts have been happening across the world, not just in the U.S. So there's weird random cults that are all across the world that are all dissecting
Maybe
cows
they're all
with
linked.
lasers.
Maybe it's the Illuminati.
And
Maybe.
They have to have them cow sex organs.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
It seems much more likely to me that
it's
it's
an alien.
aliens doing experiments on...
Why cows?
Because they're aplenty, and they're
aplenty.
They're probably one of the few things that we find because they pick them up and drop them in the field where they got them from. But these kinds of things might happen to all kinds of animals. They might have been doing studies on animals for forever.
We ain't found no dead Sasquatches.
We haven't. But people have. That Air Force pilot shot one and took it on tour for years.
It's true. That's true.
I'll give you, dude. I mean, the pictures are there.
And they're real.
They are. I love how mad I got Daniel just talking about Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to get you to just like believe it. Just like
just listen to me.
Just hear me out.
Yeah, like, and then
I couldn't get a word in edgewise a little bit with that stuff, but like I don't think that you looking into stuff like that is like just entertainment the way that a video game is just entertainment. Because you're using your mind, you're thinking about something, you're weighing, is this reasonable to think this?
Right. I'm trying to find if there's enough evidence for me to go, well, I think it's plausible.
And everything,
that's it. Because until you see one, it's not a fact. All the evidence you can gather is still just making it okay. It's a plausible thing. It could be, right?
And everything that you do, like, find out, not just about that, but everything else that you buy into is just putting another piece of your worldview picture, in place.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. When you look into, like, what kind of bull crap the Federal Reserve is,
right?
And, like, you add that to
what you've
all
already
the other
learned
junk that
or whatever,
you're like, oh, the government is evil.
Right.
They're doing so much terrible stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all it is. It's just trying to figure out what it is I believe. You know what I mean? What is it?
Yeah.
What is this world? What's out there? What's going on? Why are things the way they are? And
like
you're never gonna know it all, and you're never even gonna necessarily know any of it for sure. But you can see where things are pointing you.
Yeah.
And then you can decide whether or not you want to believe if it's possible. That's really all you can do.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I like the fact that years back I was very anti-Bigfoot, and I was like, there's no possible way that exists, and I would say all these things that a lot of skeptics say. I like to be able to say now that I've changed my mind, and maybe in 3 years, 2 years, a year, I'll be able to say I don't think Bigfoot is plausible at all.
Right.
If I see some evidence for that, I will change my mind on it. And I think it's good to be like that, because I have seen things like I've watched videos that made me realize, like, the possibility of a Bigfoot is very likely. Scientifically, it's possible. It's plausible.
Yeah. For
a Bigfoot to exist. So I'm not going to just be a complete skeptic and go, oh, that's ridiculous.
Right.
Like, it's not ridiculous. It's scientifically possible. And it's not even the most ridiculous animal that we have on this planet. I mean, there are some weird animals.
Yeah.
That are known, that everyone knows about.
Right. I mean, a duck-billed platypus looks ridiculous. Makes no fucking sense.
No.
And before that was found, if you had said you saw something like that, someone would say you were high.
Yeah.
You were freaking high. You did not see a beaver with a duck bill. Get out of here.
And it scratched me with its back claws, and I got poisoned, because that'll happen.
Yeah.
Like, what?
It's a
this
venomous
weird thing
mammal.
has, like, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
There's weird animals in this world, and it's kind of ignorant to say, oh, there's no way that that's possible.
Yeah, I don't see why. I mean, I get it based on they've told us that the platypus is a real thing, right? So it's like, okay, well, you see him, yeah, that's real. You can believe it. They just haven't told us that some other things are out there. That's it. That's the only difference between the two.
Yeah, and it's like when you take into account all of the new species that are being discovered still, that means that there are still a large number of species that are undiscovered.
Yeah.
So the whole, well, we would have found it, we would have seen it. I see a platypus, I see a deer, I see a this or a that. There's video of it. We know these things exist. What about the thing that was just discovered last week? Mm-hmm. I'm not saying anything specific, but this stuff happens frequently. So it's just like, to completely rule it out is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Mm. And it is entertaining, all of that stuff. But you're right about it being, it's something that I had to really listen to the information people were saying and try to figure out, is this plausible or is this all just bullshit? And that one guy, his videos are really good because he does a few videos where he doesn't talk about any Bigfoot stories or any anecdotal bullshit. He just I think it's like The Case for Bigfoot or something like that's the name of the video, and he explains how it's possible for it to exist.
I didn't.
And that was like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's enough land, there's enough food.
And with the, people, a lot of people say Gigantopithecus is the most likely candidate. He actually proposes a different candidate that it could be, that I think is actually probably more likely. I don't remember which one it was, but either one of those, mm-hmm. the possibility for them coming over on the ice bridge or whatever, being in this area, evolving and surviving is very likely.
Yeah. Very, very likely.
And if they did survive through that time period with all of those other predators, they would be incredible at surviving.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's just so likely that
because it's almost like they stopped in their evolutionary track and they've stayed in one area, which is the heightened senses of survival.
Yeah.
Right. We pushed through that to a point where we've created civilizations that make it where we don't have to have some of those certain survival
we built
instincts.
The safeties around us.
Exactly. So it's, I don't know. It's plausible, I think. But.
I watched a couple of Chupacabra videos today just for entertainment. Because I mean,
so Bigfoot could be real, but Chupacabra is just bullcrap.
It could be. The first video I actually saw was like, okay, that's kind of weird, and then I saw like top 5 Chupacabras caught on video, and they were all mangy dogs or coyotes.
Yeah.
Like it was like real bad, except for the one that was like from the first video that I watched, and this one was weird. This lady who owned a farm, she was like some kind of animal researcher. She'd been doing it for like 20 years, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Her chickens were getting killed, and the blood was getting sucked out of them, and they weren't being eaten. They were just drained of their blood.
Don't weasels do that?
Maybe they might, but here's the thing. I don't know, and she was saying, I don't know of any animal that would do this to chickens. She was the expert. She could be full of shit, right? This is just the video, okay?
I think she is. I think weasels do that.
She said, that there's something doing this, blah, blah, blah. There was a cop and his partner doing a patrol, checking fences or something in this little podunk town, I guess. That's like what they do. Instead of, it's just like, that was so funny to me. It's like, we were checking to see if any fences were down, and we saw this thing running down the road. So they didn't even have their dash cam on, because it's like, why would we turn our dash cam on? We're checking fences, They turned the dash cam on, and there's this mangy-looking dog running in front of them, right? And it just looks like a mangy dog. And it turns, and, like, its snout is really long. Like, I've never seen a coyote or a fox or a dog. I've seen some dogs, like greyhounds, have really long snouts like that. But it wasn't a greyhound. It was a small coyote-shaped dog with a weirdly long snout.
Yeah.
And they followed it for a while, and they were, like freaked out. Like, they were like, what is that? Like, I've never seen nothing like that. Then this is the weird part of the video, okay? The lady whose the chickens were getting killed, all of a sudden she's got a dead one that's stuffed in her house now. And I guess she's killed it. They weren't really like specific about that. It was just like, she's like, I got one and this is it. But no one will say, everybody says this thing doesn't exist, but here it is right here. And that thing looks weird as hell. And it's a real skinned animal. Like, it's a real stuffed animal. You can tell that the hide is real. And apparently it has blue eyes, which the eyes are fake. They don't keep the eyes and things like that. So I don't know if it had blue eyes or not.
Right.
But it's weird looking, And it's like, it doesn't really look like a mangy coyote like the rest of them do.
Yeah.
And so that was the only one that I was just like, well, I don't know what that is, but I don't know what it is. That doesn't mean it's a chupacabra. Yeah. Like, that's ridiculous. I really do think that one is kind of just a bullshit.
I don't know what it is. Got to be a chupacabra.
That's right. Yeah.
I know all of the southwestern animals.
Yeah.
Who knows, man? And that's kind of where I'm at. Who knows? And I don't want to just buy into things, because I think that's what Daniel was kind of. He's like, it's fun. It's fun to believe or to want to believe that things exist. And I get that. And that's part of it, too.
But what's wrong with having fun, Daniel?
Yeah, right.
Trying to make everybody miserable all the time.
Oh, if he hears this. I wasn't even there to defend myself.
That's not what I was doing.
No. I'm never hanging out with you guys again.
Not moving back now.
What you got for us, Sav?
I got nothing.
Well, okay.
Whenever you guys start watching things again and enjoying life.
Oh yeah, by the way, people, we've taken a hiatus from internet and television.
How'd that go for you, Caleb?
I did not participate because I am smart.
It was terrible.
It's not been great. I mean, here's the thing: like, it hasn't been bad. I've definitely filled my time with other things, and they weren't bad, but it's.
I don't like making myself do that.
It's like, is it more beneficial to use the internet for positive things.
Yes.
That you could have, or sit around and just play Yahtzee for a weekend. What's helping your brain more?
I think just sitting around every now and then and playing Yahtzee to take a break from something that you do all the time was beneficial for me.
Sure.
Right? And then just the, like, I don't know, just eating dinner without the television on and talking to my wife instead of us just looking at a TV while we eat. Like, that was nice. Like, it wasn't a bad thing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Listen,
I went outside more.
I turn the TV on when I eat, and my wife still talks to me. I can't help it.
But it's like, why do we turn it on if we're just going to talk through it anyways? You know what I mean? Like, why can't we just sit here and talk, or why can't we go sit on the porch, or I did.
Don't you do that though regularly?
I do, but there were times that I just decided, I'm just going to go ahead and do this, instead, because I have nothing else to do, and I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have done those things.
Sure.
And they weren't anything like profound or amazing.
I'm hoping I'm going to clean my room or something.
Yeah.
Like something really good. Like that I need to do.
And I didn't do that.
But I felt like I was going to just like sleep. I'd just be like, I need to like.
I read, which I wouldn't have done. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't mind reading. I like reading, but at the same time, it's so easy to just turn your phone on and not read.
Yeah.
And read comments and fucking YouTube.
But see, that's the thing though, is I read no matter what outlet I'm doing. It may not be a book, but I'm reading something.
Right, but it's still different than like.
It is different, but it's like, it's good for you.
Yeah,
I used to be really bad at reading, and once I started being on the internet all the time and just reading, even like back before I was reading articles and stuff, when I would just read Facebook shit. That shit's so helpful just to learn how to read. Like, I didn't know how to read, basically. Like I was not good at reading. And like I feel much more confident reading now. Like I don't like speaking in front of people, but if I had to read something, I know I'm confident and I can read words. I know big words. I've seen them all. I've seen plenty. There's some words I don't know, but like what I mean.
Yeah.
Like that shit's good for you, but reading books is probably a bit better.
I'll tell you something I read that I probably wouldn't have read if I wasn't doing this. Was I told you I started reading that John Piper book, and it was his book called This Momentary Marriage. It was about marriage or whatever, and his whole thing is like, well, I read like the first 5 or 6 chapters of it, and he was talking about like marriage is not about like staying in love doesn't keep you married, but the commitment keeps you married and in love kind of thing. And like, so he's like, it's dumb to think that you're going to be married to somebody your entire life and just think that it's going to all be easy. You're always going to have good feelings about each other. Like, you got to, actually work at it and stay committed and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like, I was just thinking about that. Like, that and then the whole concept in Christianity of sanctification being going through hard things to grow as a person.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing. Like, you can find that concept in Ayn Rand's books. Obviously, Jordan Peterson talks about, you wouldn't know anything about that, Caleb, but him taking up your cross and that kind of thing.
Right.
And like the whole, you've heard him talk about like the yin yang and the dark being the, why are you grinning at me? The dark being the chaos, the light being the order. You don't want to be too far into the dark. You'll come apart because it's too into chaos. You don't want to be into order.
Gotta walk the line.
That's right. You gotta be right there in the middle.
I know me some Jordan Peterson. It's
not
not really Jordan Peterson.
He's talking about.
But yeah.
Yeah. And I was just thinking, like, life isn't about doing the easy thing. Like, the easy thing makes you a terrible person.
Soft.
Yeah, you want to, and like it's even in our DNA. Like, if you go to the gym, you lift weights, you get stronger. Mm-hmm. If you just literally lay on a couch and never get off, your muscles atrophy and you can't even walk.
Right.
Yeah. So everybody's just all about feelings now and not wanting to do anything hard. And if you don't ever do anything hard, you won't ever develop any character. You'll never go forward.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I was texting Josh. I was like, when you have all these different people from a variety of viewpoints that are all saying the same thing, you should probably listen to them. Like, there's truth in that.
There's got to be. Because if it's coming from Christianity and it's coming from secular people just figuring it out.
Eastern religions,
yeah, exactly.
Like all that stuff.
It's there's got to be something to that. But like you said, it's just part of our DNA. Like it's
accomplishment and challenge is ingrained in us. I think.
Yeah.
It gives us purpose too.
Mm-hmm.
As I don't know, weird as that sounds, you would think like, why do I have to go through hard shit to give me purpose in my life?
Yeah.
But
nobody wants that.
Yeah.
It's very much against our culture now.
Yeah. Absolutely. Nobody wants to deal with anything.
Yeah.
And everyone is miserable.
Yeah. Yeah, because they don't have meaning, they don't have purpose, they're not growing, they're just getting worse and worse.
Mm-hmm. And it sucks though, because doing hard shit is fucking hard.
I'm gonna cry. My shoulder is literally gonna make me cry before this podcast is over.
Yeah.
Another thing that I like, one of the reasons that I didn't do this weekend is
There are reasons, or
there are.
Okay.
Mostly because I got sick, but I've kind of found a like groove of how to deal with hard shit, and because hard shit is awful, if I overload myself with it, I shut down and I'm like, fuck that, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
It's like kind of the way I did it with the fasting, and I've lost a bunch of weight doing that, and I've started doing push-ups and stuff. If I would have like set a goal and been like, all right, I'm going to do 100 push-ups today. On the first day I was going to do push-ups.
Right.
I would have never done any more because I wouldn't have accomplished it, and I just would have been like, fuck it.
Right.
I started really
chaos,
slow,
right?
and
like,
worked my way up. Yeah. And so that's what I want to do with this. Like, I probably won't go a whole 3 or 4 days. I'll probably just go tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or whenever I decide to do it. If I don't do it tomorrow, I'll do it just for a day. And because I'll know, like, okay, that wasn't that bad. Mm-hmm. And that'll make me know, well, I can go 2 days. You know what I mean? And that helps me to get through hard shit and actually be able to stick with it. And actually come through the other side, you know?
Right.
So I was kind of looking at it that way and wanted to plan it out better. And I wanted to, like, because on the weekends, I sit at the house by myself all day. Maddie will be there on Monday, so we can sit there and do something and not just...
Yeah.
Not me be sitting there like, I have nothing I can do because I only ever do these things, you know, and like... You know,
right. But
so.
that's the point. It's
to
force you to get up and do something different.
It's the point, but my point is that if something for me is too hard, I just won't do it at all.
Yeah.
I'll say, fuck it.
Yeah.
So I have to work with myself on my limits and go, you know, I can do this. I just need to do it in a smaller or more controlled context. But
yeah,
I'm looking forward to it though, and
you can do it, man.
I want to do more like this with other things. Like, I want to do it with weed. I want to do it with maybe vaping. You know, like different, not all at once, but different things. You know, because it's definitely helpful.
Yeah, I think. You know, keeping yourself from something that you do regularly, even just for a day, is worth doing. Even only for it to be better tomorrow when you go back to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure,
if that's all you get out of it, is just kind of regenerating what it is that you do that you enjoy, I think that's even worth it. So,
yeah.
I've been wanting to do the weed thing because I've said I want to do that for probably the last 2 or 3 years, and I've smoked weed every day since then. So it's just one of those things where
that one's going to be one of the hardest.
I think it worries me because, you know, we all preach that it's not addictive, but we're about to fucking find out when we go on.
Well, it's not, like, you know, I talk about this a lot. Well, not a lot, but it's something that I kind of believe. But, like, people are addicted to everything. Everything is addictive. Mm-hmm. Everything. And it's like you can use the word habit or you can use the word addict. And it really, if you want to get technical, I guess it just depends on how far you take something. But, like, we're all addicted to everything. And if you do anything for 3 years every day, it's going to be really hard one day to just not do that thing.
Yeah, because we all like our routines.
Yes.
We feel more comfortable in a routine.
And if what you do every day brings you joy,
right,
it's even harder. You know, if it was miserable to do that every day, it'd probably be easy to stop.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But like, so
I could definitely stop going to work.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's like, I don't know, but it's not addictive like that. But it's like, it's good to try to break habits and break small addictions. But I think there are healthy habits and healthy addictions. Do you know what I mean? Like, and you can always take anything too far, but
yeah.
I mean, for me, when I quit doing heroin, I had to replace that with something. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
And it's not like okay, I'm an addict, so I have to be an addict and I have to overindulge in things, but like I have to find something that brings me joy that isn't harmful.
Right.
And I have to use that to replace what I was doing. You know what I mean? And so like it's the same kind of thing, and that's kind of how I see it like that, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's you have to kind of balance like
you have to balance
good and bad.
And it may be good to switch up what it is that you're filling the void with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's one of the things.
Use something different to fill it.
Yeah,
for
one of the
while
counselors that I talked to, she would say is, you don't want to stick with one thing because you can turn that into something bad.
Right.
You need to constantly be changing and kind of have a variety of things that you're replacing this with.
Yeah.
You know? So.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Decent counselor. Shout out to him or her.
She's a G. I saw something. I think it was actually like this serial killer interview that I was watching the other day, and he was talking about some woman it was actually Russell Brand is what it was. He was talking about this counselor. He's like, there's this woman at every single rehab or anything like that. There's a woman like this at all of them, and she takes control. She tells people this and that, and she's the sweetest, nicest woman. And like immediately, me and Maddie were like, that's Miss Donna.
Yeah.
Like. And it's weird because like he said it and it's true. Like I know someone here that's that lady.
Yeah.
And it's like she just she's incredible. She's retired and now she's going and doing stuff at some church, and she's constantly working with people still in her off time and her, after she's been retired, just because she's a great person.
Yeah.
Like,
did you tell her she needs to get a variety of what she feels good with?
Practice what you preach.
Yeah, right?
God. Hypocrite.
Oh, man.
But what I was going to say earlier is you guys should watch some serial killer interviews when you can start watching stuff again, because they're amazing.
Have you guys ever watched Mindhunter on Netflix?
That's the reason that I've been
started
getting
watching
into
it.
Yeah. I watched season 1 when it first came out, and then just watched season 2.
Yeah. I just watched the whole thing.
Like
over the last 3 days.
Yeah.
I just watched